Hello everyone. This session is about loss and damage fund, which is like almost in every newspaper as well as in PAB. See, what is loss and damage fund? See, this is a fund which is being developed by all the countries who are part of this UNFCCC signatories. They wanted to make a fund which can help the countries for going for adaptation and mitigation of global warming and climate change. So there is a very important term here which you should know: adaptation and mitigation of climate change. So which set of countries are looking for adaptation and mitigation? Basically the developing countries and least developed countries are looking for adaptation and mitigation techniques. Transfer of technology, adoption of technology, prevention methods, etc. In this, if you could see, there was a very good article which was mentioned in the Indian Express, which says COP28, COP is Conference of Parties, where 22 nations, including US, commit to tripling the capacity. This is net zero concept, and UN climate negotiation through the years up to COP28. So, in both the newspapers, COP28 is very much common. What happened in COP28? And what are the roots of loss and damage fund resembles to? See, you have to understand here, the loss and damage was basically an initiative of Warsaw. Warsaw is in Poland. In this COP, the countries came forward and thought we will make an initiative. This initiative can help us to make a fund which is called as loss and damage fund. This fund will be helping those countries which are actually facing the negative impacts due to global warming and climate change because of the mechanisms or the measures taken by the developed countries. So, developed countries will make a contribution, they will make a fund which is called as loss and damage fund. This fund will be utilized by all these developing countries along with this LDCs. LDCs are least developed countries. Contribution to this fund can be from anyone. This is an initiative taken in the recent COP28 in UAE. That contribution can come voluntary in nature, that any country can come forward and make contribution. So which other countries have made contribution, that we are going to study now, and it could be utilized by the developing countries and the least developed countries for basically the mitigation as well as the adaptations of the impacts of the global warming and climate change, so that this mechanism which can reduce the global temperatures to less than 2 degrees centigrade or quite lesser than 1.5 degrees centigrade. So what happens if the temperature increases greater than 2 degrees centigrade is you will make an adverse impact on the earth because of the increase in the greenhouse gases emissions, majorly the carbon emissions, which are quite high in number, and this carbon emission will start heating up the earth. This heating up the earth will gives a negative impact leading to the climate change. Climate change will result into increasing the water levels, seashore levels, melting of glaciers, droughts, okay, and impacts in the seasonal rainfalls, monsoonal rainfalls, etc. So, in order to come out from such issues, the government put together, all the governments have come forward and started making some initiatives, and they will teach the countries how to adapt this climate change issues, etc. And they will teach the countries the prevention, okay, resettlements, rehabilitations, how to fight the climate change, global warming, etc. And World Bank is the institution which has given responsibilities of maintaining for initially 4 to 5 years. In general, it is 4 years. So at COP19, as I have told you, in 2013, that is Conference of Parties, which is as part of UNFCCC. Okay, so this initiatives was part of Warsaw, that is Poland, in 2013, which is what I have explained. And next, there was a very important term in news which is called as CBDR. Now, what is CBDR? CBDR is nothing but common but differentiated responsibilities. It's a common. What is common? Global warming and climate change is a common issues that the earth is going to face. So, every country is equally responsible. So, it should be common but differentiated responsibilities. If you can break the term, differentiate responsibilities means the responsibilities of those countries who have made a large scale emissions in the past, quite from industrial revolution to the present, will make a heavier contribution when compared to the other countries. That means one group will be the developed countries group, other group will be the least developed countries and the developing countries. So both put together will come forward, both groups will come forward and will try to fight the climate change and the global warming. And initially the responsibilities, the major responsibilities lies with the developed countries, which are going to help to adapt and help in terms of funds and help in terms of transfer of technology, so that new technologies can be adopted, for that we can go for carbon sequestration, etc., which can ensure there is a large scale capture of the carbon making use of lot of technology. See, now in the recent summits, if you can understand what is the contribution made by each and every country coming forward to make this fund. For example, if you take a case of United Arab Emirates, they made an initiative that, sir, we are going to fund around $100 million. And if you take the case of Germany, even Germany promised to fund $100 million. United States, which is of $17 million. United Kingdom, which is around $50 million. Japan, which is around $10 million. So all these are part of L&D fund, that is the loss and damage fund. So the European Union also have come forward. They committed that they will make a transactions of $145 million in total. Okay, so this will be with respect to the L&D funds, where the countries can adopt new mechanisms, etc. Now you have to remember the nodal agency for this is the World Bank, which is responsible for taking role for around 4 to 5 years, which is what I have told you. And a very important point which I wanted to tell you, like in the previous session, in the previous slide, I have explained you what happens if the temperature is beyond 1.5 degrees centigrade or 2 degrees centigrade. And this negative impacts I have already told you, but prior to that, in case if there is an average consideration how the world is moving as of now, like what is the average emissions that the world is moving, like the globe is moving now with the pace of emissions, if you can look into this, then there is an average loss of 8% of GDP. There is an average loss of 8% of GDP to this poor countries, mostly these African countries. Okay, so these countries has a greater impact because not having a proper rainfall. Okay, enormous amount of like drought or heavy impact of the climate change, global warming, etc. So together these countries have come forward and has initiated that now we are going to come forward to take some measures, so that these measures will definitely help to reduce this impacts, the negative impacts, the economical impacts, etc. You should also understand, like today if you take the present data, US, UK, EU and China, these are one of the largest contributors of carbon emissions. These are the largest contributions of carbon emissions, where India is somewhere around 4%. Alright, and India is one of the active in fighting against this one of the sustainable development goals target of reducing the climate change and the global warming impacts. So in this, most importantly, you should understand what is CBDR, okay, and where is the roots of the institutions of L&D was derived from the Warsaw, and what is this fund and who can fund this, who can utilize this fund, alright, and how is the world is been divided into two groups, and what are the contributions made by every country, and finally, and what happens if the average temperature increases greater than 2 degrees centigrade, and with the pace we are moving now, so what impact it will create to the present environment. Alright, thank you.